welcome back to Teatalks. It's been a minute, but we're coming back with some fire. And today I have a very special guest. This is my big brother, Arron. So how are you doing today? What's been going on?
Good, thanks. Nothing much. Studying hard, looking after the kids. And that's really generally my life right now.
Alright, I've just eased into London and set up Teatalks, so, it's been pretty chilled.
Well, this is it. You coming back and obviously getting to relax again is, I think, a good thing for you because you're doing a lot while you're out there. So obviously to come back and just chill and be around your family as well, that must be calming, I think.
Yeah, it's nice.
Because, you're a bit distant out there. Hard to reach, I would say. Well, I'm saying, I can't reach out and touch you and, a phone call is cool, but you know what I mean? It's not the same.
It's different in person.
If you need someone, I can't run round and give you something or come bring you sugar or, for your tea.
What tea are you drinking?
I'm drinking mint tea today.
Nice. And I'm drinking tropical...
Mango and moringa.
There we go. Alright, so you've watched Teatalks, you know how it works, a couple of questions. You ready?
Fire away, I'm ready to answer.
Alright, let's get into it. Obviously, you became like a dad at 19, and I wanted to ask you, what was that experience like for you, and how is it different now becoming a dad in your later years?
Obviously, I think the first time, my first baby, Shanae, I was still a baby, if you can think of it like that. I was still out on the roads, as they say, living that kind of life. I was in the fast lane, so I didn't really, and I was just becoming a man, so I would say I was coming into adulthood and my puberty and girls and all of that, so because it was so fresh, I don't think I was ready to be a dad. And at the same time, which makes it a lot worse, obviously, I wasn't even there when she was born, I was in prison. So the day she was born, I was being released. So obviously she'd been born in the morning, I got released late at that time. And I didn't go straight to see her. I think the first thing I did was when I got a haircut, then I went out with the man then, and then I went to see her the next day. But it's because...
Did you know she was coming though?
Yeah, I was told that she was being born but it was, these things weren't, I don't know, you're not really ready for that, or I wasn't. I was nowhere in the mind of what a father has to be. So I thought it would be fine if I just go check her the next day, it's cool. Because she's just been born, she's gonna be with her mum, I've just come out, you know what I mean? I just need to go and chillax for a second, But that was my first experience, so I wouldn't say I was there emotionally and, I don't know, in my mindset, wasn't ready to be a father. So I was still very much on the road and still very much just trying to be a young man instead of everything stopping and focusing on this child. But as time went on, and obviously the more time you spend time with a baby, you can't do anything but love them. So I would go there all the time as much as I could to spend time with her, but I didn't get on with her mum at all. So it was then becoming a point where the only time I could see her was in that space around her mum. So it became more and more like I was just visiting. So instead of being a father that could take their child, go to the park or pick her up, come and stay over, there was none of that. So because I didn't have that access and I wasn't being given, that responsibility, I felt even less of a father. So it got to the point where if I can't take my child and I don't want to be around you, so what am I supposed to do? Am I not going to have no say? And obviously, for me, it wasn't a factor of going to court or doing anything like that. That didn't even come into my head. My thought process was obviously she doesn't want me to take that role. She wants to have it all to herself, to be the mom, and I will never be able to be a father if I can't take my child. So now, to tell the truth, I felt kind of helpless in that situation. So I kind of just back a bit. and left it with the thought process of at some point the situation will change. But it didn't. And time went on, and time went on, and time went on. And she got older and older and older. And obviously for me, that was killing me, because as more she got older, so did I. And I started to realize what it was to be a father, what I was missing. So I started to fight harder for her. Then I started to go to court, and I've done all of this, and then everything just fell through on every hurdle. And then in this, the mum would get even more mad and start to, I don't know, just put things into her head. Whereas I always tried to just shield them from everything. So even if I hate her mum, I'm not going to say anything bad about her, just for the fact that's not for her head. She needs to be a child and be happy. But it wasn't the same way on the other side. So obviously she was told a lot of rubbish, don't like her, I ain't got time for her. And over time I think this, I don't know, affected her mind of her character, of who she is. But she's older now. She knows who I am. She knows who her mum is, unfortunately. And obviously, no, I'm saying her character. Not like she's still with her now. She lives with her mum. She will always love her mum. She will always protect her mum. But she understands how her mum is now. So now she comes to me. You understand? She will leave her mum, say, I can't deal with her right now. Then she'll come to me. But she understands where I was coming from. At the same time, she knows whatever her mum said, that weren't true.
Because you've been able to heal that relationship.
Yeah, and show her who I really am and what I stand for. So obviously, that being my first child, it was, I don't know, it was hard because it was a constant battle, a fight, just to be a father. Nothing more. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to be her dad and show her I was there. As much as her mum said I didn't care, I'm here. But I can't help you, I can't take you, so there's a difference. If I could, then I could show you. So that's where it was with that. And then for me, obviously I was still doing what I was doing. And at the time, I would say when I was younger, I didn't have a bad upbringing, as you know. Our mum and dad were great. But where we was brought up, the in thing was crime.
Like mum always says, you are a product of your environment. So leading into that, how did that affect you? Because like you said, you had really great parents, but how important is your environment? So
obviously where we are, or where it was all brought up, was the Aylesbury estate. And I love it.
I'm putting it right here.
Because I felt like it was the most multicultural place you could be. So though it's all tower blocks and people will look into it and think it's such a, I don't know, dangerous place. But when you're all stuck together and you grow up together, it becomes, I don't know, everyone's your family. You look after someone's mum across the road and everyone respects each other. That's how it was in the beginning. But the point being is there's so many different cultures. So you didn't have time to be, I don't know, racist, or because your best friend's black and then their best friend's Chinese and their best friend's Mexican. So it was like you got to learn so many different cultures and ways of living that it was nice. But then the darker side to it was everyone's broke. So as kids, I think they all wanted more, and they didn't want to put the pressure onto our parents. So, and a lot of their parents, I would say, they weren't really good parents. So quite absent, either alcoholics, drug addicts, so then the children had to fend for themselves. So in that, they would have to do crime. So if I want to eat, I'm gonna have to go steal it, or I'm gonna have to, if I want new trainers, I'm gonna have to go rob something. So then I think the kids around the area got good at that, providing for themselves through crime. And in the same time, they enjoyed it. So it was fun. And it brought them closer together, being that I think they was in that risk-reward environment. So the more they put their, I don't know, their lives or their freedom on the line, and they saved each other and looked after each other, they become closer as a family and maybe the unit, but they wasn't getting at home. So a lot of them stuck together and did their own thing to make money. And then I would say they got good at it, we did a lot of stuff. So from young, I was just watching. There was a time
what was you doing there?
I wasn't even allowed out. So I think it was by the time I was 11 and 13, I would run out the house and I would sneak off to Kent and we would rave until about, I think it's hard.
Why are you getting in at 11 years old?
Yeah, so Mummy won't know, so obviously I'm gone. But there's one train to Kent and there's one train back at 12:30. So I'm saying the whole of London, Peckham, Brixton, everyone from London is going there. So we'll all get on this train and then at 12:30 the train comes back. But that was it. As a kid, everyone, you was just together. If you're from the area, you looked after, and I would say you see at least 40, 50 man together at one point just sitting there coaching. It was a real, in them days we called it the motherland, and it was a community, and yeah, it was nice, but everything was crime. To the point where that was all we knew. That was our fun, stealing and robbing. To every single night I was getting arrested from, I think it was 11 to 13. Then it was, I think I was 16.
That young?
Mm-hmm. At 16, I started to rob shops. So when the shops was shut, I would go there with, there was an old man called Hass. So we'd go there, I'd break the shutters, and then we'll go in there and take everything. So we were clearing 20 grand, 30 grand a time, but I was 13. So though we was taking 30, 20 grand a time, the man who was taking us would give us 5 grand, 3 grand. And I was haps. Ooh, ice cream, yeah.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
That's how they...
So we didn't know this until I was arrested for it. And then I went to prison for, I think it was 7 shops, and in all the 7 shops they showed us what was taken and to what amount. And then obviously I'm thinking, hold on a second, we only got this from this and we only got that from that. So at these times in every single thing, the man was just robbing us blind by 20 grands and 15 grands.
Oh my gosh.
But because we're so young, we didn't know any better. So that was that. So 16, that was the first time we've gone to court, and then they've said, right, we're going to prison. So I'm thinking, oh, okay.
So what do they do at the like when you're 11 to 13 normally? If
They just kept on sending me to the police station. I'll get Nick to come out, I'll get caution, or I'll get sent to court and get fined. But it becomes so much to the point where Mummy's just tired of picking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We got your son at the police station, or da-da-da-da-da.
That's her.
So she said, I ain't coming anymore. You can deal with it. So it got to the point where I knew if I'm getting arrested, it's on me. So I ain't getting out. So I may just get comfy, go to sleep. And it becomes so normal to me that it didn't really matter. And at the same time, it wasn't a deterrent, because it was only for a minute. You go for a couple of hours and then you're back. But then at 16, obviously, I got caught for the shops because I had left my fingerprint on the shop. So I was always the type of person, if you catch me, cool, I own up. Stupid as it is, but it's just how I was. I just take responsibility. All right, cool, you got me, it was me. So I told them, and obviously then they sent me to prison, but I was 16. So that was the first time my mum went to prison. But for me, it was, I don't know, I was scared, because I was thinking, you go to jail, you get raped, people are going to beat you up. This is all the thought process I'm thinking in my head.
Wow.
So then I'm thinking, right, whoever sees me, I'm just going to have to fight straight away. I'm going to have to make myself one of those toothbrush knives or something. I'm thinking the extreme. Then I got there, and it was nothing like that. Everyone in there was from, like, I don't know, not from London. So, I don't know, they're different. So it was a bit more, bit more calmer, and they was in there for twats, like stealing cars and drinking on the beach, and they're not like us, you understand? They ain't in there for the crimes that we do in London. So I don't know, I realise I'm a lot different to these people. Secondly, we're all in here for the same thing, so it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't angry, it wasn't beef, it wasn't fighting, it was fun. You see your man there, you just catch, I don't know, you smoke weed. Everything was just, I don't know. It was like boot camp. So then in my head as a young man, I'm thinking, okay, so this is what happens if you get into big trouble, you come to boot camp. So it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't a way to stop me from doing crime anyway. So I'm like, alright, cool.
But is that because of the age you were? Like there's certain type of facilities that they send you to?
Yeah, we can go on though. So from 16 is when it started. So after that, I'm doing shops, and then I started to do machines, so pop machines, arcade machines, go around the whole of, I'll say, Britain. We go to Sheffield, Leeds, everywhere, Scotland, but this was our job. So we wake up at like 6 in the morning, we'll drive out to like Sheffield, and then we'll rob every single bowling alley on the way home. So in this we were making,
oh my gosh,
I don't know, 10 grand or whatever. So we had loads of money there, but we get arrested, but it was seen as theft. So if you got nicked, it was like stealing Mars bars. You understand? So it wasn't, because you're just taking change from a machine, it wasn't a real mad crime. So you wouldn't get long for it either way. So we started to get arrested for that anyway. Then I go back to prison, and then in the end, went to prison a lot. So at 18 now, I'm still going to prison, but I went to Belmarsh. So this is like maximum security. So I'm thinking, oh, this is where they put the lifers, and it was a bit different. So it was kind of my first experience of big man prison, because I'm in like Feltham and all youth offenders before that. So then when I got there, I'm saying these people are never going home, so it's different for them. But again, it's not, I don't know, it's not horrible. Even there was 3 men in a cell. I've had some of the best jokes I've ever had in my life in those prisons, where they put, I'm crying. It is so funny because, I don't know, you're there together. We are against the screws, you understand? They're trying to oppress us. We're not. Why are we going to fight amongst each other? You understand? It doesn't make sense. Though there is fighting. And
yeah, of course.
I think it's a lot of who you are. Every prison I go to, I know about 20 people in there. Because, you know, we're all from the bloody ends. We're just scattered everywhere. So I think that was another blessing from where we're from. Because nearly every one of my friends was criminals, every time I went to jail, I know someone, or what's happening? Oh, where you been? This way you been hiding it? And then it's just jokes from there, you understand? So I think that made it calmer. And being that I wasn't, I don't know, I was a lot different to most people, my mindset. Because I've been used to it for so long, from 16 I've been doing it. I learned to be on my own, I would say. I've become a lot more independent. But this was all that time there. I'm going in and out and in and out and in and out. And obviously for me, it's getting to the point where this can't be it. You understand? Because it's, I don't know, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, when do you realise, like, this is not my...
You know it is, but then it becomes a battle between you and the government. So every time I would get nicked to go to prison, when I come home, I'm mad. So I'm like, alright, it took that bit of time for me. So I'll go do as much crime as I can to get my...
Are you serious?
Yeah, to get my, I don't know, my penance for what they've done to me. But it was like it was a silly, stupid circle of nothing. Because he just kept on going back to jail, I kept on getting into trouble, and he was not stopping. But then we started to up our crimes, so I would say our crimes started to get bigger. So then when you're doing the bigger crimes now, I'm thinking, alright then cool, we're making bigger money, it's better, But then I'm seeing people get shot now, I see people get 15 years, I'm seeing everything seems to be like traps and people are getting set up, so I'm like, you know what? I think it's about time I'm just back from this. But because of where we're from, I can go away for, I don't know, you can go away for 10 years, you come back and you put yourself in the same situation around the same people, it's inevitable that you're going to do the same things. So I knew the only way for me to, I don't know, change or stop doing crime altogether is to take myself away from all the people and the place that's drawing me into it. So I decided to go as far as I could away from Aylesbury and, I don't know, get myself together. And I moved to East London, where I knew absolutely nobody. So it was better for me because I could just focus on what's next now, what am I going to do. So in my thought process. I'm sitting there and I'm just proper thinking hard. If I'm going to change my life, I have to do something that, I don't know, that works for me. What do I want to do? What would make me happy? So I thought I could maybe help other people like myself not go to prison and not take the same path that I did to realize how stupid it was. But at the same time, all of that is my life experience.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm able to do what I'm set out to do, what my life calling is. So it's not to say, obviously, I don't appreciate everything that's happened to me. Not that it was all good and it's the way forward, I'm not saying that. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be who I am. But at the same time, I don't think you have to take that path to come to my realization.
Yeah.
So I think being that I've been that way, now I can help, I don't know, the younger generation not do the same thing. Just jumpstart. So if you skip all that and you just start here, you know, I think you'll get a lot further.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm nearly 40 now, so it took me a hell of a long time. But, so I've decided I need to now maybe go work in probation and stop other children going to prison and just make a difference somehow. I thought that would really make me happy. So I went to all the colleges around East London. Finally, I found one that had an access course. But they said, rather than going straight into probation, do the access course into counselling, which will then open the doors to probation. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll give it a go. So now I'm studying counselling. And the more I'm studying counselling, I'm learning about the mind and I'm learning about child development and the ID, the ego and the consciousness. And I'm like, this shit is brilliant, sorry for swearing. But yeah, it really intrigued me. It captured me properly. I was like, I love this. And then because I was so into it, I knew this is what I want to do. So obviously probation, that was great, but I wasn't really feeling all of that anymore. Now I wanted to go into the mind, how the mind works. And this was really, it was changing me as I was learning. Because I started to understand why people was angry and why this guy here is looking at me for so long. Because you start to understand, well, what happened to him as a child? How was his parents? How was his upbringing? If you're so angry now, you poor thing, what must have happened to you? And it changed my mindset of who I was. So no longer am I looking, who are you looking at, cuz? All of that's gone now. So obviously instead I'm looking at you like, oh man, you poor thing, what have you been through? Compassion that I learned from counselling was life-changing in itself. So now I'm on a path to being something more. And obviously it was what I needed to do, I think, to take myself away from the life I was living, was find something that I was really passionate about. Secondly, to find what you want to do, whether it be helping people, whether it be making cars, whether it be clothes, whatever it is, whatever you feel in your heart, this is me. That's what you go for. So obviously I was thinking, right, I'm gonna go for this. Now, in all of this, now I'm about to have a baby again. So I'm thinking, right, this time round, obviously I don't wanna be in that same situation where I can't see my child and da. So babies come forward, then I've had another baby and another baby. So skip forward all of this. Being a dad's the best thing in my entire life. Completely and utterly is what I live for. Every single moment. Taking them to school, picking them up, knowing their favourites. Because I didn't know those questions before. You know, like if you asked me about my first child, what was her favourite? I don't know. What was theirs? I don't know.
Yeah.
And for me, obviously, that hurt. So I made it right. And whether it was by accident or I become like a mother. Do you understand? I understood how mothers are, because I was just there 24/7 with them, every moment, the first steps, the first words. So when you start building all of these kind of memories with your child, it's like the bond is unbreakable. So now all I live for is to, all right, I've got to up them, I've got to make it better for them, but trying to be the best parent you can is a very hard job. because nobody's perfect. So a lot of times you're going to beat yourself, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong, but in the end, all I try to do is let them be children. That is my main thing, just let them be kids for as long as they can. Because obviously, as you heard, from 11, I was doing a lot of stuff, which was a bit too grown up for me. And at the same time, I don't think it was, good for me. So I'm trying to keep them as kids. But in the same time, you want them to have, a bit of knowledge about what's going on in the world and how hard it is and It's finding that balance. But at the same time, they're my reason for just going even harder. So obviously, with the kids coming, obviously I'm thinking I need to get a career where they can come and work with me, we can all be together. So now the counselling's going well, I've got the degree. So I finished from the access course, went straight into uni, got a degree in counselling. And then I've opened up a children's home. So I had to go work with one of my mum's old friends, and we had to get like all the licenses, the HBO, make sure everything's certified, make sure everything's done. So then we got the children into the house, and then it was all up and running. She had a fully working children's home. So then I went to work there, and I would sleep there, so say a week on end, and then come back. It was really, eye-opening to what those kids was going through and how little help they had. I just felt they're really on their own. Like really bad parents, not there for them, and then they're put into the children's home, which is great. But after they leave us, there's no more help. It's like it's another cut-off.
What kind of age?
18, so 16 to 18. Then they get put in a flat and then it's over.
It's like you're an adult now.
Yeah, go live your life. So again, being where I'm from, I'm trying to understand the cycle that we're living in and how to break the cycle. And if we keep on perpetuating it and putting, kids back into the same cycle and the same situation, how can we expect, their outcome to be different? So for me, it was, how are we gonna give them even more help? How are we gonna do more? But what I learned is when you work under government or all of these establishments, you can't do what you want to do. You have to do what they tell you to do. And mostly what they're doing is based on money, trying to get cash. So from there, I thought, okay, this is not for me because I'm not able to help the kids in the way that I want to. But it opened my eyes to see, well, if I started my own program, just the way she did, and I will run a program with the kids and help them how I feel is more beneficial to them.
Do you want to work with the same age group?
Yeah, 16 to 18 plus. I work with parents. The thing is, parents are missed as well. You can help all the children, but then what if the parents are still at home broke with no money, no education?
Feeding them
Do you understand?
Mind again.
So by helping the whole family as a whole, I think that's how you fix the problem. By just focusing on one part, you're missing the whole picture. Because most of these problems stem from parents not having enough. You understand? If I can't provide that for you, I can't do that, that causes stress. And then the child knows, well, I'm not going to ask my mom because I know she don't have it. Do you understand? So then that provides stress on the child to go and provide for himself. And in all those situations, you get into trouble and then you get told you're bad, you're this, and then the label sticks and then you become a product of your environment. That's the essence of it. So for me, I'm thinking, right, how do we change this? So then, from working in the children's home, I dibble-dabbled in probation, worked in there. I thought that was the same kind of situation where they're not giving the right help at the right time and they're not taking it as serious as they should be, being that they've never been on the other side. So what I'm learning is my experience is key in all of these sectors because I understand what they're going through.
You can see both sides.
Right, so when these people are laughing or you don't understand how 10 minutes more in your cell could just mess up that whole young man's mind. I've been there and kids have tried to kill themselves because they're not built how I'm built. It's not to say because I had a good time and my experience was okay. There's a lot of people that have the worst time in their life. Yes, it breaks them. So it's, like I said, it's not a good place to find out who you are.
Yeah.
and obviously it'll make you or break you. Where I feel for me, yeah, it did make me, because I knew, but I didn't feel vulnerable in those situations. I always, because I said I had friends,
but I also feel like you had a good home.
Yeah,
so you used to bounce around, like it's fun. It was fun for you, whereas some people are doing that to escape their home situation.
So when they say institutionalized, that means obviously it becomes your second home. Like you'd rather be there than be at home. Why, you ask? Because when you're in prison, you go to gym, you get fed 3 times a day, you see all your friends, you watch telly 24/7, you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to worry about no one's problems, no one's not calling you up asking you for nothing.
It's true.
So therefore, it's actually quite an easy life.
For some, yeah.
Yes,
I like that.
you see, and that's why when you come home, that's the real prison.
Yeah.
That's the
For
jungle.
some, yeah. It's
So
true.
now you got to pay rent. Now people phoning you. Now
Someone
you're feeling
shouting,
pain.
your nan's asking for this.
So then that's when the real struggle starts. And I think for someone that's been in that calm and that, that robotic lifestyle, do this, and then you have to come home to what we would say is chaos, because living in the real world is mad. For them, this is too much.
Yeah.
They'll rather be there where it's calm. And that's where I think they've won. That's when they, broke you like a cattle.
They've got your mind.
Yes, that's where you should be. That's not where you should be.
No.
We should be out here and we should be happy. It's just about being able to put yourself in other people's situation. Then you're able to understand struggle with a more bigger perspective, I think. Because we're so close-minded of, this is our struggle, this is what we're living, this is so hard. When you understand what they're going through, you kind of think, well, this ain't that hard.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's the opportunity. So now what I know is the kids don't have the opportunity. No one told me you go to uni. No one told me I could go to uni. They told me I should go to prison. They told me that I'm bad. They told me I'll never amount to nothing. They told me that I'm stupid. They told me that I'm this. All these negative things they told me, but that got me mad. I'm like, all right, cool, watch this now. And then I went against it. And each time I went against it, I succeeded. So then when I started to learn, obviously, you are what you want to be. No one can put you in a box. So therefore, opening the kid's mind to the possibility of what they could be will just make a whole better community. When they're saying there's so much crime, we'll give them opportunity then. Give them something else to do. You understand? If they can't see a way out, then why are they going to listen to you? I'm going to help you out, but you want to send them to Tesco's to make bloody £5 an hour. They don't want that. Do you understand? When you're giving kids jobs or you're giving them, dreams, give them something they can aspire to. Not what you aspire to or what you think is, the in thing. And I think that's where they're missing as well, by not tailoring, programs and work ethic to what the kids want now. They're all in stocks, they're in NFTs, they're in crypto, they're in YouTube, they're in media, so you trying to give them, this boring lesson on history about this. They don't want to know that. They want to know, what can I use? What is useful to me? And I think that's what I would aim to do now, is just build a new school using the adventure playgrounds or something like that, and use that as my platform to teach the mums and the kids what they need to know. Take them out on the big field trips that we used to go to as kids, where we all had to work together and teamwork and, bringing back that community feeling. And then making rocket scientists amongst the community easily, just by educating them and giving them the opportunity to do certain things. So it's like all of these rich people and that you think of, like, the guy that owns Virgin, the guy that owns Amazon, all of these people, Bill Gates, bloody the one that done Apple, all of them dropped out of college. Yeah. So when people say, "Oh, he must have went to Harvard," or no, they didn't. Do you understand? They just had a dream and they went for it, and they didn't know how to do something, so they taught themselves how to do it, not through the establishments or the normal ways. So it's about wanting something, going for it, you get it. And that's what it's about. And all of these people are rich beyond their dreams. So then you got to stop putting yourself in the box of, I need this, I need that, I need that. All you need is to take the first step. And I think that's what I want to bring to the kids. And that's what I will do through my studies. So now I've got my degree. I'm carrying on. I'm currently studying for my master's in psychology. Then from there, I will carry on and get a degree in hypnotherapy. And then from there, I shall carry on and get my PhD. At which point, they'll be calling me Dr. Harrower. And so from there...
You love that.
I'm going to love that more than anything. But as you got to understand, for me, I want respect. But see, like, I don't want street respect. That's never made me, oh, you're the man, because it's never been my thing. But when I say I want respect as what I'm bringing to the community, what I'm doing, like that man there is a good man. Do you understand? That man there you want to aspire to be like, that's respect to me. And that's what I want kids to I want to do what he did. And that I think is what we should all aspire to do, help others. So for me to get higher and higher educated just upskills me and gives me a bigger voice. Yeah. So to the point where I'm a doctor, of course they're going to listen to me. Of course I can get government funding to do something with the kids here and do something there. And that's the point, is making your voice as loud as you can. So therefore they ain't got no choice but to listen to you. And that's my mission. So I'm not going for I'm a doctor now. I'm going to get a bigger voice. Because where I'm from, where you're from, I'm saying like the other side, it's all education and Harvard. Oh yes, that makes me... That's not me. I'm sorry. It's different for me. I'm getting educated so I can stand at the same table as you. So I think it's a different way of coming.
It's like practical and theory. You've had the practical training and you're able to go and come from that angle where some people get taught, this is what it's like. And they're not in it. So
they can't really understand, especially with the kids.
The emotional side and the mental side of the struggles and then balancing it back out.
That is the end goal. Like I said, professorship is what I will end in, but by that time I should be at least 70 something. So this is how long I'm looking to be studying within this field. Obviously I don't think none of these things happen overnight. And those last parts, PhD and professorship, that's going to be a next good few years in between them, because they have to be proper. But that is what I'm aiming to do. And then I can just bring everything together, my whole family working with me as well. And we're just making change. And then for me, that's the legacy you want to leave. That carries on after you, helping people. And then you can say, that's what I've done. Not money, not nothing, something that will last forever. I changed the world.
It's powerful. So you've got 5 girls and 1 boy. So how does that work with, like, who has certain conversations with them about Sienna running in, she needs whatever, and then there's Theo, like how does it?
Because obviously because it's all girls, I've come to the realization of how open I have to be. Because if I'm too strict or I'm too thingy, I will lose them. You understand? And they'll do it anyway outside of my protection. So the more open I am with them, I think the more relaxed they will be to be around me, rather than having to feel they have to run away to do certain things. So that's the type of way I'm trying to go with the girls. But it's going to be very hard for me. Because even if they say I've got a boyfriend and I'm laughing, in my head, I'm like, what do you mean? Do you understand? But I have to be relaxed about it, because if I'm not, how can they even think about turning to me or asking me a question if the reaction they got was, I'm going to kill him? They wouldn't, They wouldn't. So I think about that all the time, being that most of them are girls. And then I always think, why did I have so many girls? Maybe it was to put me in that mindset of how women work and having that, I don't know, because I was all in this bravado stuff. Being able to get in touch with a different side of your, I think, emotions is very beneficial. It's just
life.
So through them, I respect women more, and I'm able to be a lot more calmer as well. And it's because obviously it always goes into how would you like your daughter to be treated? Would you like that? Not that I have different, I'm saying in general, like how I address a woman. Or you'll say, well, a woman, I don't think that, because I think my daughters can do everything. So therefore, that's how I feel about women now. You understand? It's like it's empowered them to me. You're all great. You're all wonderful. No one's different. What do you mean my little girl can't do that? Watch her now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that everything changed. So it's what I fight for now is to give them those opportunities where they can. What one of the biggest things is when you have kids is you always say this, I'm gonna give my kids everything I never had. I'm gonna do everything that was never done for me. But what you forget, all those things that happened to you and everything that you didn't have made you who you are.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So then if you stripped your kids from this and you don't give them none of that upbringing you had, and you just put them straight into the having, where's their struggle? Where's their character going to be built to like what you are coming from? And it's like hard, cool, you want them to be comfortable, but I don't think you must always remember half of that struggle is why you are the way you are. So I think a lot of parents trying to just completely change how it was for you. You are a good person, then maybe you need to give them more of what you had. Do you understand? Rather than less of.
Yeah, the balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I should send all my kids to go on
to Aylesbury.
No, but I'm trying to say obviously that showed me a lot about my friends and who I can depend on. And when I was sitting in the cell on my own, he told me about being on my own. So when I got my first flat, it weren't, I'm cool. What do you mean? I'm fine, I'm alright.
Yeah.
And that was all things that I learned. Where I know people, they can't sit in their house for 2 minutes on their own. They can't even make toast, let alone, and I had all those skills already. I was good to go. And it was, so it goes both ways. But at the same time, everyone's different. And that's what I found out with my girls. And obviously Theo, each one of them has a different character and each stage has been different. And what I've noticed is like about 11, 12, they change again. It's like boom, it's just like this silent mode. They're just so quiet, they don't really want to speak anymore. They just but it's so interesting to watch how they change and then try not to miss it. So I got to start doing this with them now. With the baby, I had her walking by 10 months. Because I was like, boom, I'm having this. I'm gonna do everything. So I'm running with her, bouncing her. Now she's singing. So I'm like, right, I'm gonna start playing new languages. It's about each stage of their life, giving them what they need. So now, obviously the older girls now, I need to get them out. Socializing with friends and, I don't know, staying out with their friends. It's about that for them now, about experiencing the world a lot more so they can build of who they are. So it's letting them express themselves at each stage, I think, is the most important thing you can do as a parent. And I think that's what I often beat myself up on if I'm not able to provide them with a situation to do that. So if I'm too caught up with study or if I'm too caught up with work, or I'm like, right, I need to take time for them to do this, yeah.
I must say though, I think you're a fantastic dad.
Thank you.
Warms my heart.
It's my best job.
This one's a little bit deeper, and I wanted to ask you, what has been like the biggest shift after Dad's transition? Because for all of us, he was a really strong pillar, and we all used to have really powerful and deep conversations with him. And I felt like he was he's our king. Like, we really look up to him. I don't have anything negative to say. Like, he's really a strong masculine presence we had in our lives. What's been the biggest shift for you as a man and like kind of having your dad transition?
I think obviously as the hierarchy goes, like you said, I could always turn to him. He's above me. So now when he was gone, though obviously I argue with Jai all the time and have our little thingies, but at the same time, you know, that's just brother stuff. But then when Daddy went, I had this sense of now I need to look after him like Daddy did. It's like I felt so much I had to do his role and be there for the family like he was. And try, because you're just there for everybody. But you always had time for everyone, you understand? And obviously you and Jai used to look after you lot a lot and say how much obviously, yeah man, them latter got it right, and he was proud of you lot, you understand? So it was in that I had to try to take his mindset again and be more like he was. And obviously, he was very laid back in the way he went about things, and
you don't get to hear that on the mic.
Bubbles. Hello?
I'm putting this on.
I'm gonna leave in 2 seconds. Okay? Just probably about 10 minutes. Alright, ciao. But yes, I think his absence was, I felt like I had to jump into his role. Secondly, it was, I don't know, you know, like when you miss someone a lot, it's like I would think about him in a lot of instances, obviously because I was at the house a lot, so it was always me and him. So then I would start, I don't know, trying to still fix things and make things look better, and trying to, in memory of him, it's like I just still wanted to make the house look perfect. So it's like I still felt he was there, if you can get that. So whatever I'm doing in that house, or whenever I'm in the house, I still feel he's there. So I try to act accordingly, as in, Pops is gonna cuss me if I shut the door too loud, or, you know, just, that's how I am, and that's how I feel. So if there's one place, obviously, that I do still feel his presence, even that he's gone, will be at his house. And that's, obviously, that's where I don't know, I still, because it's there and he's always been there, it's like that's my part of him I still hold on to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The biggest transition, and like I said, is trying to be like him and take his roles in looking after the people the way he did. As in, he listened. That was one of his best qualities. He could listen. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to be a counsellor, I'm going to need that tenfold. You know what I mean? So that was one of his best things. But the other thing was, he was always right. And it used to make me laugh when we would have our discussions, and I would have to stop because I knew there was no going more forward. He's not going to quit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
One of the things that was weird for me was I used to speak to Dad a lot on the phone. So like even when I travelled, and like when I lived in New York, I'd call Dad every day and be on the phone for like an hour, 2 hours. And there was a time when it was several months later, it was about 7-8 months, and I was just like, oh, and I went in and got Dad's number up, and then it was like, whoa, like I'm not calling anyone. That's when it was, really? It really was like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, those conversations were really powerful, and I'm grateful because a lot of the things we've spoken about, and that he's given that safe space to dissect, has sat with me. And it feels like it's life advice through the conversations you have.
But as they say, it's not what you give to your children, it's what you leave in them.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Daddy, hello. I think he just made a bunch of wonderful, him and Mummy combined.
Yeah.
Them two characters was like a good song to listen to, because it structured us properly.
They both got really good hearts.
Yes. And that's the way in the world.
Yeah.
That's the true richness, is just to be happy. So many people fighting for all these material things. It's not really gonna bring you the happiness, because once you get it, now you want something else. So it's emptiness.
Your
really.
soul's not filled.
Right. So then you'll find, if you look back at the only times you've actually truly been happy, is probably with your friends, or when you're laughing hard with your family. And in those moments there, you've always been around people. So true happiness is connection. And that's it. Once you can find as many good connections as you can, you'll be the richest person in the world. That's the plan.
There we go.
And the girls don't know I've been to prison.
Oh wow, what?
I've never told them that. So I don't know.
What?
What am I gonna do?
Are you serious?
Yeah. I've never said that to them. I'm an angel to my girls.
No, but like, do you know, it's just crazy.
Of course I've never told them that. Told your kids, yeah, your dad's... Kids can't see, and if you go to prison in a kid's head, you're a murderer.
No, I know. No.
You're bad, you're a murderer. They can't see any good reason why a person
That's
would go
not
to
true.
prison. I'm saying, but that's
Because I saw it firsthand as a child. So
no,
it's
but
not
I
like...
know, you know, but I'm saying as a child.
Yeah, but you don't. I didn't know what he was doing out on the street. I'm just seeing
but
you
I'm
get
saying,
arrested.
but
I'm like,
kids think that's where the robbers and the bad people go. So if I tell them you went to jail, they'll kind of think, ooh. I think it will give them. I didn't want them to just give me any sort of look
so
like.
you want them to be a bit older to talk about that. Yeah, fair enough.
To make them understand.
What?
Oh, look
Why?
at me, you know who I am. Do I seem like a bad person?
Yeah.
You understand? And it's being that I can teach them that.
What does your idea of happiness look like? Because obviously, like, society and environments and stuff put a lot of pressure on you to have a certain way of being, image, mindset, and stuff like that. So, breaking out of that, what does your idea of happiness look like?
Farm with a house that I've built with my family, self-sustainable, solar powered, generating our own energy, and then just giving back completely. So with us living free, we don't have to pay no rent, we don't have to pay no money. We can give the energy out to the people that need it. We can give food out through the animals. It's therapeutic to work with animals and all the different types. Secondly, I'd have my school where I can, you know, do the education for the kids. Being that I'll be a professor or a doctor by then, I would have a nice clinic that could, I don't know, reach thousands of people. So I'll go international, travel the world, try to help the less, I don't know, established communities and build the same kind of, I don't know, like a school, an academy, and just get it everywhere. So then everyone can get the same help, the same opportunities. And I think the more people you put at a higher level, the greater world you're going to be living in. If we only have 2 scientists, then we're going to get what they're going to bring. But if we train 100 scientists, imagine what they could create. And it's just that. It's making sure everyone can be to their potential. And most of these most brilliant people have come from the most poorest places, do you understand? So it's finding those hidden gems. You ain't going to find them all the time in the, I don't know, well-educated places. Like I say, sometimes it's a brain that works different. It could be an autistic child that now does something that our brain can't even fathom. And then we understand how they do it. And then it's, that's...
So developing like the places for these minds to be developed.
And just being free. I don't want to pay rent.
Yeah.
I don't believe in mortgage.
Anyway.
I don't believe in working 9 to 5, coming home like a slave. None of that. I just want to be free. If I could live on an island and all we did was gather food and just catch jobs, that's what I'd do. You understand? Yeah. But that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So in society, we've got to make money. So if I'm going to make money, I don't want to make money by, I don't know, putting people in a situation that I wouldn't want to be in. So if you work for me, I want you to be like you're working at Google. I want you to be happy. Come to work on your bike, slide down the slide, just really enjoy your work. And that, for me, is how you're going to get the best out of people. When everyone just wakes up and just enjoying themselves. And then once you have that thing, it all looks after itself. You never have to work again, really, because you're going to have fun. Money's coming in from where you're having fun. Your whole house is self-sustainable. Your kids are loving it because everyone's free and looking after. No one's not doing nothing because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
That's, for me, the true happiness. This struggle that we're in now, fighting for, you don't know what you're fighting for.
And it sounds more like you're talking about like ancient civilizations, just like community-based.
That's when people was truly happy.
Coming back to that.
If you go to a time when there wasn't money and there wasn't all of that, then what was they doing? They just built stuff and, looked at the stars and worked out how they worked. And when you have more free time like we had in COVID, we saw everyone started to do stuff in their house and started to build stuff. And guess what? I found a new hobby. And guess what? I started this company, Joe. That's because you had finally had the time to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And no one can't really see that. They see it for how bad it was. But in that moment there, you all got a taste of what it was to not be a slave to society.
Yes.
To actually be free to do what you want to do. But they didn't get it. With their freedom, they thought it was like a punishment. I need to get back to work. I need to do. So the government tried to you've lost your flat, you've lost your house, that's what you get for being free. So I think it's about having that balance to be what you want to be inside and live that life. That's true happiness. And if you're stuck in a 9 to 5 you hate, trying to strive to make all this money to be somewhere that you're never gonna be, even like the normal jobs, like £2,000 a month and how would you ever make £1 million from saving anything from that after you paid you're not.
Yeah.
Just being realistic with yourself. That is a futile race. Let me try another one. Understanding your only way is to believe in yourself. Because if you believe in them, then it's not the truth. Not to say that you can't, I'm just saying that's a very, very long road.
Yeah.
So the fastest way to it is through what you can do, what you can create. I think that's the way people get forward. Waiting to be handed that position or waiting to get to that point is where you might just wait too long. So I say create your own position. Be your own boss.
And obviously, when we were younger, like your creative outlet was music, and I was the number one fan. What is your creative outlet now?
I still love music, but I tend to go a lot towards art now and video and photography. So I like just capturing images and different ways the light work and all of these kind of things. So I'm still in my science, but at the same time I'm capturing moments that I think are beautiful. And in that, I think is, in a sense, art. I like the drawing, I like the time it takes to draw something. I like how basic and, rubbish it looks in the beginning, and then the way you build it up and then it becomes something. And I think that process is what I enjoy, coming from nothing and making it something beautiful. So I think that's why art is coming a lot more into my life, because of the process of how it works and what I'm trying to establish is to create something from nothing, essentially, and make it beautiful.
What is one of your fondest memories before having any responsibilities? So like before children, back in the day, what's one of your fondest memories?
Well, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, trying to pick back.
There's so many memories.
First one that pops up.
I don't know, going raving. So I think
Where did you used to go out?
Glass House, we're everywhere. So when I was young, obviously raving was the thing. So coming into the 16s, 18s, yeah, I was everywhere. So I think those days there, just raving, just laughing, joking, just being in the clubs, I think was my fondest times. But then as time went on, the club scene changed. It wasn't the same anymore. It became a bit more, violent and standoffish and
Postcode.
yeah, it wasn't I bring you flowers anymore. And the 2-finger dance, all of that was over. So I think it was my time to step out. So yeah, I think my fondest memories was raving as a child. It must be.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
Alright. Well, on that note, thank you for coming on Teatalks. It's your first one. I will definitely have you back at some point when everything starts evolving and unfolding. And yeah.
Take care.
That's it for today.